This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar. The time is now 5:43 Jerusalem time. In the reflection you can see the 8 nights, the 8 lights of Hanukkah. Tonight is the 8th night and the 8th day, starting the 8th day, and it has a very special connection with the PL-89 because 89 in fact is the numerical value of the word Hanukkah. And there's a lot of connections, and as you can see, this is the Chanukiah. Some people call the menorah, but it's actually Chanukiah. It's the 8th night of Hanukkah. And the PL-89 now is being made for the 7th day. It's at night right now, so it's going to the next day. I'll get every last minute of it. Tomorrow will be the last day, and that will be it for this year, as far as Hanukkah goes. And so anyway, you know what? Maybe I'll just put it on the table here. Keep the light of Hanukkah going while I do the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar for the 7th day of Hanukkah. And this is a lunar and solar calendar, and a few months ago, 3 months ago to be exact, it was Rosh Hashanah. And now that we've passed by what we call in Hebrew a tikufah, which is a season, it's kind of like the seasons in just regular, fall, winter. We moved from the fall, and now we're in the winter officially season. Tekufas Tevet, and the first day of Tevet will be on box 38, and Rosh Hashanah was also on box 38. That was today. It was the Aleph Tevet of 5786, Sunday, and on the lunar calendar, it was the 21st day of December. And that's in box 33. The way this calendar works is that it deals with the sun and the moon, but the sun and the moon represent higher concepts, higher ideas. They're representative of Jacob and Esau. You can say the Gentile world and the Jewish world, and there's two forces. It's written in Genesis when Rebecca felt the twins in her kicking around, and it was a great disturbance to her, and she sought out God. She wanted to find out what's happening, and it said in the verse that God said to her, there's opinions of how it was either said directly or through prophets or however you interpret it, but God said to her in some way, two nations are in your belly, in your womb. Two nations, Shnei Le'umim Mi'ayach Yiparedu, and the older will serve the younger. And this is talking not only about Jacob and Esau, the people themselves, but the energy and the powers, the superpowers, the nations and what they represent in the world. Jew and Gentile are concepts, and the Jewish and the nations, and so I include both of them because they're both forces to be reckoned with in the world, in history, and in the redemptive history. And so there's a time when the moon / Jacob / the Jewish energy is dominant, and then after about 3 months, give or take 3 months, which is one mercurial year, as explained in the past, Mercury revolves around the sun in 88 days, according to what's published, and So that's about 3 months. And 3 months is thematic because this time period is 3 months. 80 days, as you can see, 8 times 10, 8 columns, 10 rows, and then there's a 10-day twilight period here. That's 90 days. So, like I was saying before, from Rosh Hashanah time, and it starts a new a 3-month period or a 90-day period. Then the Jewish energy is dominant. It was dominant for Tishrei, Cheshvan, and Kislev. And then after Hanukkah and Teves hits, it switches. Rosh Chodesh Teves, now the non-Jewish energy is dominant, and you can really see it. I mean, often Hanukkah comes around Christmas time, but Christmas time is generally a little bit after Hanukkah. Last year we had a very interesting situation where it was exactly the same day, but usually Hanukkah is before. Last year, the 25th day of Kislev at night became 25th, and that was December 25th. So Christmas Day was actually the first night of Hanukkah, and so forth. And it was equal throughout the whole Teves. And like Teves 10, Asar Teves was the January 10th. And so that's a very fascinating concept, when there's an incredible alignment. And last year it happened not only once, but twice. It happened in January, and it also happened in March. And it rarely even happens once a year. It happens once every few years. But this past year, in 2025, we had it twice in the same year. And so that's just indicative of some alignment that's happening, in my view. And so now, usually it depends what's cited first. Who's more dominant? What does that mean that they're more dominant? Well, in Teves, Gregorian or non-Jewish or solar is more dominant for a few reasons. Number one, Hanukkah passed us by, and now Christmas. So we see that there's that the energy of the nations is now dominant, and many more things that you might be overlooked, but I think they're very significant. For example, the Super Bowl is in January, and the Super Bowl is a huge national thing in America, which is the Gentile world predominantly, and Edom. It's kind of like a continuation of the sports, the gladiators, the whole thing in Greece and Rome, and that kind of definitely a non-Jewish energy there, and they're within this period of time, and Christmas of course starts that off, and then in January you have the Super Bowl, and February, February is like sometimes the Super Bowl is like in early February, like February 5th was one time I remember, and but at the end of January or like early February is always the thing. And then if you want to do more like minor things like Mardi Gras, I mean that's so many people. I mean, yeah, it's pretty big, I guess, in the Catholic world, in like New Orleans, but like Lent is very big in the Catholic world. That happens during this time. And then what happens is when it hits Pesach time, it goes through this January, February, March, and then after this Tekufa, this season, it flips back around. Passover time becomes Jewish again. Why? The moon becomes dominant, because it says in Exodus, "Achodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chadashim." God says to the people of Israel distinctly, "This month is for you," and this is the month that they were commanded to have the Passover sacrifice, and it's all about the Jews now. I mean, Israel. I'm saying Jews in Israel. I know Jew is like technically Judah, but I'm saying I use Israel and Jewish interchangeably, as many people do today. And so from April, and then you can see it trickle down in many areas. Like you have, Israel becomes a nation, And then those 3 months are all about Israel. Okay, I'm going to jump back and forth in history, but like cut to May of 1948, Israel becomes a state, gains independence in May of 1948, May 14th, 1948. Okay, that's an ER, 4 or 5 year, one of those two. And then it doesn't stop there. And then you have the miraculous victory of the 6-Day War that was at the end of ER, like around 2 days before Shavuot, in early Sivan time. And then you have, of course, Shavuot, Pentecost, which is the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. That's also all about specifically the nation of Israel. So then you have that 3-month period. But then, when you hit Tammuz, then July starts to kick in. Then the Greg starts to kick in. And Greg is, and you can see that Esav is up and Yaakov is down in the summer, because the summer is when the destruction of the temple happened, in the 3 weeks. So you see that Edom is up there. So you see that, and then it comes back to finally Tammuz, Av, and Elul, and then finally Tishrei starts all over again. But what's very, very interesting is that in this calendar, when I started it, it was just the opposite. For many years in the first dispensation, it was exactly the opposite. Okay, the winter month, whereas it was the Jewish month, from Rosh Hashanah was the non-Jewish, and all the reasons that I gave now were not taken into consideration. It was just the opposite, and I can give an equal amount of reasons for the opposite, and they had all reasons. For one, it's according to the Talmud in Tractate Rosh Hashanah. It says that the Gentile kings are judged in Rosh Hashanah in the fall time, in September time. So that's why it's a Gentile season. And then when it came to the winter time, Tevis, it became a Jewish thing because I started with Hanukkah, and the Hanukkah led the light for that whole thing. I give reasons, and then the summertime it had to do with the letters that were written after Purim on the 23rd day of Sivan. It's written in so anyway, the point is that Nisan time was a not Jewish. I don't know why. I don't know what I got for that. But anyway, but as it stands, I think it's much more logical, this newest rendition, which I'm having for several years. And so today, 38 is the box for the first day of any month in this dispensation. So the first of Teves, the first of January, it'll be here as well. And the first of any month is going to be in box 38. And the 21st day of any month, it happens to be December, but the 21st day of Kislev was also here on 33. And a simple way of just calculating is you add them together. You add 38 and 33, and you get 71. So then the first thing that comes to mind is a name, either English or Hebrew, that equals 71. So in this case, it's Steve. Steve equals 71. And Steve has a special connection with Monday. And in this calculation, Steve and Monday are connected. And right now, officially, it's Yom Sheni. As I'm speaking, it's Monday in the Hebrew calculation, meaning Sunday night is Monday. So Steve is the energy is shining right now, based on that number. But what I'm trying to find is patterns, because if I say 71, I could say Steve, but I can also say it's another name than 71. 71. I used to know a bunch off the top of my head, but I can't think of any. But let's just say A. Henry. Like someone named Henry. Like, do you know A. Henry? So A. Henry, A. Harry, A. Shimon, I think. Shimon. Or Simon. I think A. Simon. Shimon is 78, but Simon is 70. A. Simon, or Simona. If someone's named that, Simona, a woman. Those are equal to 71. So I would think about those names as well. But I'm trying to see a pattern when these names come up. So that's what this calendar is all about. It's about finding patterns in English and in Hebrew. Because it's about Jacob meeting Esau together. According to the Alter Rebbe from Chabad, that's what the Geula is. The redemption is when Esau meets Jacob. So what's more Esau than English, right? So if English meets Hebrew in the Gematria world, then that's my rendition, my version, version of making this happen. That Esau's sun is meeting the moon, Jacob's meeting Esau, Leo meets Cancer, Cancer meets Leo. What else? The paradoxes, they're all reconciled. And 89 equals unity in English Gematria. Unity is PL-89. The PL-89, and this is PL-89 since I consider this a child of mine because I don't have any physical children as of now, and it's a boy because he became bar mitzvah. Usually, bar mitzvah boys, as at age 13. I mean, that's basically what it is. And so I named him Philip. This is Philip right here. Actually, it's Paul Philip. And the reason why it's Philip, but he's basically Philip, because Philip has to do with horses. Because Philip means a lover of horses. And the horses are very prominent in the book of Zechariah. If you see the visions of Zechariah, with the 4 horsemen. And it has to do with the horsemen that pull the chariot of the Messiah. And that's what this is all about. And so PL is like Philip, you see, but it's even more because Philip is a PH and a pay is like, it's more than just an F, it's really a PH. Because a pay can go pa or fa. And so Philip has 2 pays in it. Not a wig, not a toupee, but just 2 pays. And pay is also, for the English word pun, which I like a lot. I like puns, to just kind of demonstrate it right now. And also Paul, and Paul is also PL, Pei Lamed. And Peel means elephant in Hebrew, and it's all about the big elephant that's in the room. There's a big elephant now, very, very big, and it's singing so big that it's a little bit hard to ignore it. And so it's also about the big elephant, the PL-89. It's a peel. But it's also about peeling away the layers of the onion. Batzel. Batzel is like Yoshev Beseter Elyon Betzel, in your shadow of your wings, Psalm 91. But that's an onion. An onion, like Batzel in Hebrew is Batzel. Batzel is an onion. But Bitzel is in the shadow of your wings. And those are the letters of Slav, which means the cross.